This week on C Plus News Time, we're not pretending that two supposed friends of mine bowed out at the last second to guest host and that I didn't have to cobble together an episode of this dumpster fire on a Friday night. Because it happened. And I love to acknowledge that my friends screwed me over once again. Either they don't answer their texts or promise to make this episode after they planned an important event only for that event to take over the majority of their week and for you to have to take on the hefty task of doing research, writing, and editing your poorly viewed online comedy news show in less than 24 hours. Twice. I might be a little bitter. Anyway, News Time is about the Upright Citizens Brigade's Chelsea Theater moving to the Hell's Kitchen district and the impact the theater has on comedy. Now we're here, at the part where I say something dumb to transition to the theme song. But it's Friday at 10 p.m. and honestly, I don't have anything funny to say. You did this to me.
It's C Plus News Time. Delivering to you the news you didn't know about, the news you didn't care about, and the news you didn't know you cared about. With host, Chad White. Now, here's that host, Chad White.
Act your shoe size and not your age, said a pedophile who's been caught too many times trying to role play with his appropriately aged date. Welcome back to C Plus News Time. I'm your host, Chad White. This is so dumb. And this is the comedy news that you didn't know about for the week of November 27th, 2017. Jesus. The Upright Citizens Brigade is probably one of the, if not the most influential institutions in comedy. Started by Amy Poehler, Matt Besser, Matt Walsh, and Ian Roberts, and a host of others in 1990, UCB was born out of Chicago's Improv Olympic. For years, a mix of the original performed in Chicago until they moved to New York in 96. Their first theater opened in Chelsea at the former residence of a strip club. Then they opened UCB East and East Village, followed by its western locations in Los Angeles on Franklin and Sunset, respectively. The west sites are where they shot their short-lived and wonderful UCB show. I've reported on UCB before in a video where I think it's okay to scream all of my stories. What a time that was. Almost 2 years ago, they signed a development deal with NBC. 5 shows were in the works. That is, at the time they were. I say that because the deal was likely through the CISO streaming platform, and if you listen to the Constitutionals or have seen any of the episodes of News Time I dedicated to the terrible streamer, it's dead, and it's been dead. Then again, the deal is technically through Universal Cable Productions, and it's only a first-look deal, so those projects could have different lives elsewhere in the future. I don't have to tell you, dear viewer, any more about this theater than you already know. UCB has been around for decades, but its first location, well, technically second due to an in-Chelsea move back in 2003, is moving to a new space in Hell's Kitchen. I'd gather it's time to talk about how much it means to us comedy folk. Okay, comedy-adjacent folk. A beautiful piece from Vanity Fair writer Catla McGlynn highlighted the final night in Chelsea space where a 6-hour show went down. On the final Sunday for the theater, the last Ass Cat took place. Ass Cat is a long-form improv show where a host tells a story based on a word suggestion from the audience. A group of improvisers then takes the stage and acts out scenes based on said monologue. An all-star cast went on as Walsh was joined by familiar faces Rachel Dratch, Jason Mantzoukas, Anthony Tamanuk, and Chris Gethard. On Tuesday, the final night happened to be a Herald night, which is where the top-tier talent takes the stage. This time, it was a bit different. Some might say more packed. This solemn November night featured all 6 of the theater's Herald teams in a group dubbed Post-Herald. The way McGlynn describes the goings-on of the night makes the whole thing seem unreal. One group, called the Mermaids, asked the audience to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance for no less than 6 times. Another group, called Fluffy, just shotgun beers. Around 11 p.m., 15 people were on stage in a ceremonial manner wearing garbage bags or turtlenecks and carrying a box of red wine. UCB has always been a place for everyone else to go, and moving day did not change that. This proved to be a commendable asset as the night went on. Comedy is subjective, and the only way to push forward is to innovate. UCB constantly allows for that. Trying something that might not be funny could lead to finding something that's really funny. Look at what happened later on in the night during the show. Structure fell and disorganization grew. A dance party to Beyonce's Run the World breaks out, and people ate McDonald's and jalapenos in front of the audience. A 6-foot-tall crucifix from a dumpster found its way on stage. Also, there was a dumpster really close by that played a pivotal role in the wee hours of the morning. UCB director and Chris Gethard's show co-host Shannon O'Neill is confident that the move to Hell's Kitchen will benefit the theater tenfold. She said, quote, "We're only going to grow artistically and push ourselves in new directions that we couldn't hear. But we're still going to do the things that we do here. We're just going to be more inclusive. It doesn't mean we're not going to be splattering fake blood everywhere." While it may sound like life at UCB is all fun and games, there are some hard choices that need to be made. Case in point, prices for audiences. The theater decided to raise prices of its tickets earlier this year, a move that was made twice in 2017 alone. The costs are coming, quote, across the board, partially due to the move. As we speak, $5 shows now cost $7, with training center graduations remaining $5 until January. $7 shows will cost $9, and $12 shows will stay at $12. Prices originally rose in January of this year. Online transaction fees rose too, from $1 to $1.50. But hey, free shows are still free. From TV to more TV and one time a movie, UCB proves itself to be a super special place. Over the past 2 decades, a family of performers has been created. Each person has their own brand of comedy to bring to the table. And honey, that table is full of good eating. And that's all the news I have for you for this week on C Plus News Time. Why don't you subscribe and check out one of our other videos? Of course, you can always head to the website cpluscomedy.com, where I promise I will be way more awake. You can follow us on Twitter at cpluscomedy, follow me on Twitter at chatblackwhite, like us on Facebook, listen to the Constitutionalist podcast, and don't trust your friends because they will do nothing for you. You're welcome.